Alva, there is no one else in this entire office that would possibly ask to share such a horrible job. You're the lowest on the totem pole there, Alva. The lowest. Do you realize that? Every other security here has been here longer than you, Alva. Every one. And even if there was someone else here who was here even one day longer than you, I still would not ask that person to partake in a miserable job as long as you were around. That's right, Arva. It's a horrible, horrible job sifting through the old contract at old contract. I couldn't think of a more horrible job if I wanted to, and you have to do it. You have to, or I'll fire you. Do you understand? Do you? Good. Welcome to Schizophrenia Cast, everyone.
Yeah, welcome. As you could gather from that speech that we were doing, we're talking about Nick Cage summer. Nick Cage coming back, making awesome movies, and another movie, another hit. I guess this one's not as much as a hit, as much of a hit as the other
But
movies, but
very good at all. Well, I mean, it's cool. It's cool in certain parts, but you know.
it's a fun little
But,
watch. I mean, can we even say
um,
it for that?
not really. I don't know. I don't even know if I don't even know if you could say it's fun because it gets really boring like midway through the movie. I just like I have parts of it that I like, but I can see why people could skip it, but I still say watch it though. Um yeah, what did you think of it? Well, should we say what fucking movie it is first?
Yeah, we're not gonna be talking about Prisoners of the Ghostland, everybody. A little
The
obscure
Prisoners of
movie
Ghostland.
made by XYZ Films, a film company that Nick Cage has already worked with, done a couple of good movies with. He's done the really good 2018 movie Mandy. Definite, maybe we'll review it one day, but definitely a recommendation for me for that movie. The Color of Space. That movie was a little bit more boring, but I still recommend it. And this other movie called Throw Mama from the Train or something like that. It was called something else, but I'm just saying don't Throw Mama from the Train for it for some reason.
Isn't that the movie with Sylvester Stallone?
Yeah, it is, but I forget what the name of the movie was called. It was like Mom and Dad or something. They made it in 2017.
I was thinking that this movie is a lot like Mandy. So I figured that it was I didn't know it was the same studio.
Oh yeah.
But it makes sense. I just thought like maybe he was just taking a bunch of movies that had the same like kind of vibe.
Hmm.
But because this movie's a lot like actually Mandy. Like it's actually like really really close to it. I was thinking that while I was watching the movie too.
Yeah, with the
Um
costumes and the set dressings and everything.
yeah. So to start off, I guess we'll talk about like the uh
Well, before we
what
get
was it?
into the formal movie review, I kind of wanted to do a little bit of because we always leave the facts for the end of the thing, but I feel like the facts are more interesting at the beginning before we get into the
All
things.
right.
So, like I was saying, this is the fourth collaboration between Nicolas Cage and XYZ, the movie production company. They made Mom and Dad, the cult classic Mandy, and The Color Out of Space, which is a adaptation of a Lovecraft movie.
I watched
So
that one. It was all right.
it was
Kind of boring.
okay. It was fine. This movie took 17 years to make. So 17 years ago, Reza Zixo Zafai wrote this movie, and he's a dude that was like, I think he was like in Teen Wolf. Not
Oh
the old
no.
one, the new one.
No, it was written by two guys.
Yeah,
The guy that you said is like an Iranian dude.
yeah.
Who's written some like kind of like Iranian movies, and the other guy was named Aaron something or other. Aaron, not Aaron Hansen. Um, and that guy was in Teen
Yeah,
Wolf.
he's the writer of A Girl Walks Out at Night, which I think won best foreign film somewhere, right? Or it was nominated at least.
That one what is it called? That one I missed.
That was
So
the Iranian guy that he wrote that movie. or helped write that movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, I see. The one with the
yeah,
chick with the red hair.
yeah. And then the guy, the other guy wrote. Well, he didn't write. He starred in a bunch of TV shows. So, that was his thing. But this movie took them 17 years to make. They finally got somebody to do it. They got a director and they got Nick Cage to sign off on it. So amazing. And I think the director wanted Nick Cage because he's a big fan of his movie A Wild at Heart.
Oh, okay.
So that's what the director said that he based a lot of the scenes on the movie Wild at Heart.
Is that the one where he's
Oh, by the way, the director is the director of Suicide Club.
Yeah, actually that was something that I found interesting interesting too that uh when I looked it up also. Yeah,
Mm.
it's yeah, not his he's had like a lot of drop off since Suicide Club, but
I think he's made like one other good movie, I could say. But other than that, yeah, he's had kind of a drop off. Um, he's had a weird career. He's directed a couple of like porno movies and stuff too.
oh really?
Which in
Okay.
Japan, I don't think that's a drop off. I think that's just what you do. I mean, every manga artist did porn at one point.
True. True. I just what is it called? I mean for his type of movies because he also made Tokyo Gore Police, right? Like he makes like
No,
these
no, he didn't. He
really
didn't make Tokyo Gore Police.
oh, okay then.
He made one
Um
other. He made one other movie, and that was in. I don't remember what it was. Oh, it was Why Don't You Eat in Hell?
oh,
Why
okay
Don't
then.
You Eat in Hell is probably one we have to watch also because that was very very good. That one's very good too.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, what is it called? I just well my point being that like he uh the types of movies that he makes I don't think porn is too much of a too much of a stray for him. So,
Right, right. He's no, he's definitely an interesting director, and it's interesting that he wanted Nicolas Cage for this movie.
well, I mean he probably he said Wild at Heart, right? I mean I
Hmm.
just like assume that if I didn't know anything about the director or anything like that, I would have assumed that he saw Mandy and then wanted him for this movie because he acts exactly like the character in that.
Yeah,
You know,
he's kind of
um,
quiet, like doesn't really say much.
then like he has his like big outbursts in the movie, like big acting, like Nicolas Cage. What you want to see from Nicolas Cage, what he's memed for. So, um, in this movie, uh, yeah. So should we get into the Should we get
Oh
into
yeah, I think that's
beginning
all
and
the
whatnot?
I think that's all the interesting facts that I have, and the kind of the background to the movie, making the movie. The movie was filmed in Japan. That was a decision by Nicolas Cage. He wanted it filmed in Japan because the director, no, not the director, one of the writers had a heart attack
Oh,
while they
really?
were filming in Mexico, and he thought that it would be better for their health if they filmed in Japan.
Filmed in Mexico, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
so they started filming in Mexico. They had to reshoot the whole movie in Japan. So that movie is filmed in Japan with Japanese actors. It's a Japanese film essentially.
Japanese director, Japanese actors, filmed in Japan. Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
so.
it's essentially a Japanese movie with Nicolas Cage in it, which makes sense because throughout the movie, Nicolas Cage has English lines. Some people speak some broken English, but most of the movie is in Japanese. So,
That makes yeah. There was
well,
like
I
big.
wouldn't say most of the movie. It's like half and half Japanese and English.
I was wondering why they were switching back and forth so often. Didn't know if it was like a stylistic choice, but
I thought it was a
I get.
stylistic choice too, but I think that just some of the actors could not speak English.
Oh,
Difficult for them.
oh, okay. You know what? Now thinking about the movie, it makes more sense that they like had two filming, like they were filming in two different countries because the sets like vary a lot. Like I don't know if they have deserts in Japan, but there is a desert area in this movie that I was like that now that you pointed it out, I was like, yeah, they're completely different. Um, I assume they filmed like half the movie those in that like deserty set, and then the rest in that like Japanese town
Hmm.
that they call Samurai Town
Yeah,
in this
I
movie.
did. I didn't realize that till the end of the movie when Nicolas Cage was like, "Samurai Town is safe now." And I'm like, "Wait, what?
I
It
guess
was called
Samurai
Samurai
Town.
Town?" It's-
Yeah, I know. But
I
that was
wasn't
just a
paying
normal
attention.
town.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So yes. Yeah.
Hey everybody, it's me, Dr. Dick, here to inform you that there's gonna be some spoilers on the way. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut here, let you guys know that at 1:44, hour 44, is when we give our pretty much our takes on the movie and with of the movie overall. If you want to skip the things and just see if you think that we're gonna tell you to watch it or not watch it or whatever you want to do, or if you just wanted a 20-minute video, go ahead and skip to that portion. And for anybody else that just needed something to listen to at the laundromat or taking a dump or taking a shower, keep on listening. We pretty much describe what happens in the movie, and our takes on different scenes and stuff. All right, listeners, thank you, and
Yeah. So the movie starts out with like I guess Nicolas Cage being taken out of jail, right?
mm-hmm.
Does it start as at the
No, it
flashback to the
starts
bank
at
robbery?
the flashback for the bank robbery.
Okay, so Nicolas Cage and his partner are going inside of a bank to go rob it.
Yeah,
It looks like I got
his partner, bootleg Undertaker.
oh god.
That's what somebody else called him, because he had like the
Oh,
eyeliner and the beanie on and stuff.
I don't know what they were going for with that because he had like a leather jacket, he had like he had the black beanie, he had the black eyeliner, and he was like an old, like just
Really
kind of
tall
normal
dude.
looking dude. Oh yeah, he was really big. Uh, and he just looks so strange with all that makeup on him. And like Nicolas Cage is like dressed in like just a normal suit, like a silver colored like suit that he would wear to like I don't know, like a gallery event or something like that. It
Yeah,
might
he
have
was
been his
dressed
own
like my
suit.
dad. He had like a suit jacket with like a dress shirt and in jeans and
Yeah.
boots. Like,
Yeah, so they walk does it open up with them walking to the bank? That I don't remember. Well, they're like walking to the bank and like the like city that they're in is like a disheveled. It looks Korean to me. It doesn't even look Japanese. It's like a little shanty town, right?
um,
And
not a shanty town. I wouldn't say shanty because shanty town is like a Brazilian favela or something. It looks, it just looks like a little back. It looks like a little set that you would see on Warner Brothers lot.
yeah, but like a village or something like that because I
Yeah, like a little
remember
Japanese village.
well, the thing that was jarring about it was like they're walking on a dirt road. Um and like the buildings that they're walking past are made out of wood, like made out of wood and like I guess bamboo or something. Excuse me, because I don't remember it like totally right, but I remember because they and then they go to like a really crappy like kind of looking like poorly built door. I don't remember if it's slid open or not with like some glass panes. And then they walk in and the bank is beautiful. It's like completely white.
It's
Everybody
like a super
before when they
modern
were
bank.
yeah, exactly. And then like uh and everybody's dressed in these like beautiful like brightly colored suits whereas before they were walking through like a dingy gray um like village where it was
Yeah.
like raining and like there was like the floor was not only dirt but it had mud and stuff on it. And they walk in and it's like it looks amazing. Um so they stick up the bank and then they like and then they start robbing it and then everybody's like freaking out. They shoot the police officers and stuff like that and then Nicolas Cage what is it called sees like a kid and then the kid who's also like brightly colored in like brightly attired and he's also he's got like a big ball of like gumballs or something like that. Just like a normal little Asian kid. Everybody's Japanese by the way. Um
Yeah, I think we said that before.
Bank.
Like the majority of the actors are Japanese, except for Nicolas Cage and the governor.
And his partner. His partner's also
Oh
not
yeah, yeah.
Japanese.
His partner is also not Japanese.
Well, there's a little mix of like different ethnicities in this. Like
Oh yeah, there's some black people in there too. Now that I
there
think
was
about it,
three. I counted them. There was three. I counted three
they
black
were
people in
they
there.
reused them.
Yeah, no, they didn't reuse them. There were three different black people, uh, but they're in key parts of the movie. Um, like there's like a lady and two dudes, and they're always put in the front frame. There's some other white people in there too. That are mixed in. I'm not sure what they were going for. Maybe they were just like, we gotta hide the fact that we did this completely in Japan, for whatever reason.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, so they go back to the what is it called? They're in the bank, and um, it's implied that Nicolas Cage, the little boy is like, I don't know what's wrong with him, but he like doesn't realize the situation. He offers Nicolas Cage and his buddy like some of his like brightly colored gumballs with like a big smile on his face. And it's heavily implied that the kid gets shot somehow. Um, and I think Nicolas Cage wakes up from because I think he's having a dream, right? He wakes up in a prison where he's in his underwear again. This is like the second movie that I've seen him in where he's like in his underwear screaming. Um,
oh
he's let out of his prison by prison guards, I believe. Um, he's taken to his underwear and he's wearing Japanese underwear. You know, the one that like rolls up into his butt crack. Um, he's taken out with like guards behind him and he's taken to the middle of the town square. Um, where everything is like I don't know, the Tokugawa period of Japan. There's like
yeah,
the red pillars everywhere. There's cherry blossom trees. All the everybody's like kind of like watching him march through the area to like a town square. And everybody is dressed in kimonos.
hmm
Lots of Japanese people, one black lady. Um, all dressed in kimonos, all kind of like laughing and pointing at him. The uh the guards that were taking him out, they're dressed as cowboys. So there's like a white guy cowboy with long hair, and then there's like a big fat cowboy with long hair who's Asian. And they're taking him out, and they bring him to the town square, and there's a car pulls up, and out comes an old white guy dressed in completely white.
hmm
He's the governor,
the
and
governor.
yeah, they don't say he's the governor until like midway through the movie, right?
They
Just assume that.
yeah, you just assume he's the big boss since they're making a big deal about him coming out and he has like the all white suit and everything. You kind of guess that he's the governor. This movie really relies on you thinking about the movie. Cuz if you don't, you're going to get lost.
Well, I mean, it does a good job of at least like saying this person is important. This person's like, you know, clearly he's the big boss. He drove in like an expensive looking car while everybody's just dressed in
Mhm.
normal robes. He's wearing a nicer suit than his henchmen, who are
Yeah.
wearing a suits that are similar to his but not as
But
nice.
that's asking for a lot nowadays with audiences the way they are, or maybe just the way they film the movies. They film them for the lowest common denominator. So I don't know. For me, them doing that is a lot smarter than how they do movies now, where it's like somebody's big expensive car rolls in and then somebody like whispers to the other person, oh, "That's the governor," or something like that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I assume that maybe they just had to like deal with what they had because you said that the guy had a heart attack, one of the writers or the directors or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, so like I don't know, I thought they did a pretty good job given the circumstances. I mean, it looked really nice. I thought
Well, the
everything looked
cinematography was like there. It was an A+. You know what I mean? Everybody's
yeah.
costumes were really good. Uh, Nobody really looked out of place, even though they had like Japanese cowboys and stuff. Nobody really looked bad. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um,
The
and the way
the
they
people
filmed
in
it
the
was good.
yeah, the lighting was good also. The like all their dresses and like suits and stuff like that, they all looked really nice.
Yeah, it was
Um
the only thing they had on Amazon was high definition, but I would have loved to watch it in 4K.
no, it probably would have looked awesome. I mean, if they were able to do that.
Yeah.
Uh
No,
but
there's a 4K version out there somewhere, but they didn't have it on Amazon, which is sucks.
yeah, just have your eyes melt off from the beauty.
Yeah.
Um So, I didn't realize this then, but like you have like cowboys and samurais at the same time.
Hmm.
So I didn't know if that was like maybe it's me reading too much into it or whatever, but I assume that they were like making an obvious reference to like spaghetti westerns being derived from samurai movies.
Hmm.
Um, like everybody knows what is it called? Seven Samurai and the Magnificent Seven.
Oh yeah,
And
that
like
that could be true. Yeah.
Yojimbo, the director from Yojimbo saying that the man with no name, I think it was like a few dollars more, is a ripoff of Yojimbo.
Hmm.
Um, so that's what I was thinking during the movie. I was like, oh, okay, well,
Yeah.
they're making a reference to this.
I thought
Um,
I thought they were making reference to like, oh, what this since this was a collaboration between Western and Eastern um movie studios and stuff like that. I thought that's what they were implying, but that yours makes more sense.
I think so, but I mean, the only person that looks kind of like super out of place, and this is why I thought, well, I'll bring it up later. So, so the Nicolas Cage is introduced to the governor, and um, the governor tells him, hey, I don't know, this person that I find very important to me has been kidnapped, or so I need you to go find her or something like that. Then there's like, and then Nicolas Cage is like, fuck you or something. And then there's like a big like fight scene between Nicolas Cage and some of the henchmen. And eventually they get the better of Nicolas Cage or he calms down. And he tells him like, yeah, I'll let you go free or whatever if you help me find this person and bring her back. She's my daughter, I believe. Yeah. I
I
think
don't know
that's
if
what he
he
said.
ever says daughter. I think he just says his Bernice or whatever because her name is Bernice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he ever says his daughter. He might have, but it totally escaped me because he never references it again.
They say her name a lot, but he shows her a picture. He shows Nicolas Cage a picture of her with another girl that he's with. The other girl that he's with is like seems insane. I forget what her name is. But but it's obvious that he finds her to be important to him, and
Hmm.
so he tells Nicolas Cage like, hey, like go find this and I'll let you go free, and then
Wait,
he's
hold
all
on.
like,
This is the I'll cut something in. I was gonna say we should have said spoilers,
oh yeah, spoilers.
but
Well maybe yeah.
okay. Well, this is all what the first. No, I don't want to. I'll edit something in. Go continue. I'll edit something in. I guess.
Spoilers, Nicolas Cage is in the movie.
Yeah.
So so then like what is it called? So then the governor tells Nicolas Cage like, yeah, you go do this. However, you got to wear this suit. It's made out of leather and it's got bombs on either hand, their wrist, on your neck, and two on your balls, one for each ball. So if you like try to like punch the girl, your arm will explode. If you try to have your way with the girl, your balls will explode. I don't know how this technology works. And if you don't get it done by I think 24 hours tomorrow, the ones on your neck will explode and you'll die. Nicolas Cage is like, all right, I don't know, sure. Um, and so the deal is made, and the governor sets off, and then Nicolas Cage sets off to go find Bernice. Did the governor point him in the right direction?
No. He just said go find her, and he gave him a 1998 Toyota Celica to go find her in.
Oh God,
It was a really
that was
really nice car. Of which there's this really funny scene where they're setting him off. There's these little like funny like you can tell very Japanese scenes, like very Japanese comedy scenes in the movie, and Nicolas Cage is really good at pulling him off. Like when Nicolas Cage is leaving, he's getting into the Celica and driving off. He drives like 5 feet. He drives 5 feet and he jumps out of the car and jumps on a bike and rides away. And the governors are like, that bastard.
I don't remember that happening.
Yeah, he rides the bike away, and then you see a montage of him riding the bike like getting like maybe like a mile away, and the governor's personal bodyguard Yoshiji
Yo- Yoshijiro.
Yoshijiro uh, comes out and gives him the Celica back.
Oh, I see. Is this where we're introduced to Yoshijiro?
No, Yoshijiro was introduced at the beginning when he when the governor shows him off a little bit. Kind of, he says Yoshijiro has yet to find a somebody his equal.
Oh, I see. Yoshijiro is a like one of the classic looking samurais. He's wearing like a blue, I don't even know what you would call it. Whatever men wear, like the like traditional garb. Um, and he's got like the samurai sword and his hair up in a ponytail. Very classic looking. Um, and so I think Nicolas Cage, by the way, the suit that he's wearing not only has those little sensors on it, but it's like also made out of black leather that I forgot to mention earlier. It's like made
Yeah,
out of like
the governor says he has an affinity for black leather for some reason
okay.
while he's wearing a suit. That's what I'm saying. There's like all these little quips and jokes that are like hidden. If you don't pay attention, you're gonna miss them. You know, which is really the one thing I really like about Japanese movies. You know what I mean?
Is those little quips?
Is
Is those
the
little
little
like
is the little jokes here and there, you know, sprinkled in. They don't hold your hand or anything like that. It's not, they don't look at the camera and they're like burr, burr, you know what I mean? Like they, you know, they just, you, if you miss the joke, you miss the joke. It's your fault. And they're
yeah,
usually pretty funny.
I think I was one of those or whatever. I needed my I needed to be led. Um so Nicolas Cage what's it called? By the way, what is he looks like Mandy. It just looks like Mandy like later on in the Mandy movie. Or like one of the evil bad guys from Mandy. Um so Nicolas Cage like ends up in Ghost Town, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
At
He
this
ends up,
point
he
like
wanders until he finds, okay. Now, they don't really say what happens. He runs into, these samurai that are surrounding a bus. We find out who they are later on, but for right now we don't know who they are. And when I was watching it, I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." There was like these big samurai guys with like, you know, the horned helmets and everything. And Nick Cage runs into them. Then the picture fades, and when it fades back in, it's Nicolas Cage on the ground. The car was too expensive to crash. So they didn't, they just parked it up on a hill and made it look like it was out of the way, like he had just hit something. um um and they you know, they wait for him
wake
to
up.
wake up, and he gets dragged off by like these Mad Max looking guys. He's being dragged away with one of Bernice's friends that we see at the beginning when Bernice escapes. By the way, there's a scene where Bernice escapes in the beginning.
Yeah.
We forgot to say there's like a little prostitution thing and Bernice escapes. Um, God damn it. But yeah, Bernice escapes, and she her friend, one of her friends that she escaped with, is with Nicolas Cage. At that time, who knows where she came from or wherever the hell they were. They don't really explain, right? So
No, I don't think so.
yeah.
I think he just kind of like wanders into
Well, he's being
the
dragged away, and she's there, and it's like there's not really any explanation to that. But they end up taking them to Ghost Town, right?
Oh yeah, that they kind of looks like the scene from Evil Dead, right? Where they have him in the stockade and they're like dragging him.
Yeah. So he's being dragged there, and then he's shown Ghost Town, where they or Ghostland. Well, the area is called the Ghostlands, but Ghost Town, they like show a little bit of they show a little bit of the concrete and all the people working and stuff like that. And the guy
It's like
yeah.
it's like this is the part where it looks like a desert. This is probably the part that they filmed in Mexico, right?
Mhm.
Because it's like super deserty. There's like these kind of like ruins of a building, and in the like it definitely looks like the outskirts of like a place where there's not a lot of development, or there's like a bunch of urban decay in a desert landscape. And there's a giant clock in the middle of their their area. So in the middle of the town, there's like a giant clock. Um, the I think this is. Does he talk to the preacher at this point? Right, like he walks in and then he gets introduced to like what the town is and the I guess the religious leader of the town, right?
Yes, he's introduced him. I believe there's a fight scene where he fights the guy who brought him to the town, the leader of the Mad Max dressed guys, whose name is Ratman.
Right, right.
Yeah, his name is Ratman, and I believe he fights Ratman's goons in like an Elvis karate scene.
Type of like,
Yeah, he's doing straight up Elvis karate. He's not even making any bones about it. He's like doing karate chops with his hands and shit.
right. And he's
Um,
like he's like so old to where like you can see it kind of pains him to do all that stuff.
yeah, and he's just doing that, and then the guys the guys sneak up on him, and I think he says, I'll fucking karate chop you."
All right.
Yeah, he yells at
Yeah,
them,
he's like,
and then they like circle back on him, and he's like, "Hi fucking yeah, hi fucking yeah."
classic,
I
classic Nick Cage.
I believe the religious leader of the town is also named Mike Enoch for some reason.
Really?
Yeah, no, his name is not Mike Enoch. His name is
Oh,
Enoch.
okay. Right. He's the one who introduces him to like what's going on in the town, right? That they have
Yeah.
like their religious fervor.
He mentions the ghosts that live in the desert. Probably the ghost that I connected it as the ghost that live in the that attacked him in the desert.
Right, right.
Hmm.
But he I think they ask him. I think at this point this is after the fight scene. He gets does he loses the fight scene, right? Or is it are they having the fight scene in the middle of the town square? I think if
Um,
they're having the fight scene in the middle of the town square, if I remember correctly.
right.
And so I think like after the scene is done, yeah, the religious leader comes up and asks him what he's even doing there, and he tells them, he's looking for a girl. And at first they're not receptive to it. I think they have like a weird issue with outsiders coming into the city or their town. And so he's like I think he's about to move on and girl from the like back like screams out is like I know who that is. That's Bernice. I know exactly who that is. And then Nicolas Cage asks her, "Okay, who is it? Where is she? Where can I find her?" And then she says something about a doll maker.
Hmm.
I think she says something very cryptic about her being like silenced or something like that. And there's a guy who comes out. I think he's wearing a top hat, a suit, and he's got long hair. And he's like saying, he shows him all these mannequins. He comes out when she says it. He shows him all these mannequins that he's like these are like women or something like that. And so like Nicolas Cage is walking up to the mannequins and he notices like they're breathing. One of the mannequins is like breathing and like in between the mannequins look like this is where like my weebness comes out really bad because I was like, is this a Berserk reference? Is spoilers for Berserk? There's like a doll that the characters need to piece together that looks a lot like this mannequin. So with all the Japanese stuff, I was all like, this has to be anime, or manga. Um, so Nicolas Cage sees the doll breathing. He like picks off pieces of it because all the pieces are like clearly they're like kind of stuck on to this mannequin, glued together, so you can see the cracks in between them. He takes off a piece of it and sees that there's a girl in there, or like a person in there. He rips off all the face pieces and it's not Bernice. He does this to a
A
couple
couple
of
of
mannequins
mannequins,
looking
yeah.
yeah, looking through all of them and then eventually he finds Bernice in a mannequin. Um Now he says to the town like I'm going to take her with me. And I don't think the town is on board with her leaving, right? Tony, am I wrong about that or
Mm, I don't remember.
yeah, I think they're at first they're like kind of like
not okay with it, but then they relent later because I
Well, they
think
can't
that
really
girl
stop
that
him.
yeah, they can't really do anything about it. The girl I think is on board with it or whatever, but she's saying that Bernice is running away from you know running away from the governor. Um, but they all talk in like weird cryptic like metaphors. Um, so it's kind of like hard to understand. But but Nicolas Cage ends up taking her away. She's like catatonic. She doesn't want to like she doesn't like fight back against Nicolas Cage. Doesn't even like uh acknowledge his existence. She just like Nicolas Cage grabs her mannequin body and her and then puts her on a cart and starts taking her out of the city. Um so once Nicolas Cage is like far enough away from the city, he starts ripping off all the pieces of the mannequin body that's glued to her, and he sees that Bernice is catatonic. One thing I forgot to mention about his suit is that Bernice needs to, at certain points during the day, the suit has a little a speaker on his wrist that needs to that will alert him when when the suit is about to explode, and Bernice needs to say her name into the speaker so that the suit won't explode and kill Nicolas Cage. So that's another caveat that they added onto the suit. So Nicolas Cage starts hearing the what is it called? Starts hearing the suit uh, start speaking up about, hey, you're about to explode there, and he starts trying to get Bernice to like say his name or say her name, but she's not going for it. She's just like super catatonic, and he's like saying like, "Hey, take off all this mannequin stuff. You got to get it off there." Um, and so like he starts looking at Bernice's like body because she's like a hot, young, attractive woman.
Yeah, no, what
And
he's giving her water. Remember?
oh, he's giving her water. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's like pouring water. And he's
Um,
like, yo, yeah. He's like, yeah,
yeah,
because
drink
fucking Nick
water.
Cage is like overacting a lot. That's like his new thing. People discovered that he was a really, really funny in Kiss of a Vampire.
Yeah,
A Kiss of the Vampire, right? Oh no, Vampire's Kiss.
Vampire's Kiss. Yeah.
Don't watch Kiss of the Vampire, anybody. But Vampire's Kiss. Watch Kiss of the Vampire too. But yeah, Vampire's Kiss. They found out that he was really funny because he was overacting in that movie, and I think he's like okay. And now every movie he's just the guy from Vampire's Kiss. So in this movie
Yeah,
he's
pretty
really
much.
playing it up.
He breaks out, and it's funny too because he's so like just normal up until those parts, um, which is coming up. So
Yeah. No, there was
he's
a
like giving
couple in
her.
here already because he was like, "Hi, fucking yeah," and I'll fucking
Yeah.
karate you.
Well, I
You
mean,
know.
my favorite one is the one that comes up next, though. So um, he likes giving her water, and then he like starts taking off more of the mannequin parts, lower down in her body, and he starts looking at her legs and stuff like that. I guess he starts getting aroused.
Yeah.
Um, this alerts the suit
The left
as
ball of the suit.
left ball of the suit. It starts freaking out, and it's like it's funny because all the other times that the suit beeps, it didn't go by so quickly, but this time he like gets a boner. Um, Bernice is looking at him with contempt, the entire time while he's trying to give her water and say something, and his ball explodes,
Yeah,
and
one of
he's
the
like, "Good."
one of the ball things explodes.
Yeah, and then like he's like running, he's like and he's like running around in a circle holding his like
His
crotch.
crotch
Like,
yelling, and
yeah,
he
like
like
his
picks
he's
up.
like my suit's burning. He's like my foot is burning. My foot's on fire. He's like running like a prospector with his hat on fire.
Yeah,
Um, screeching like a monkey, like
yeah,
running around,
and then he picks up
and
his
it's
ball,
like
shows it
his
to the camera.
intact. It's like intact testicle, right? It's like it's shaped. It looks kind of like an eyeball with like the little like what is it called? With the little like veins pointing in a specific direction. Um,
Yeah, which I think it was. I think it was an eyeball prop that they double used. You know what I mean?
didn't even think about that, but you're probably right.
Yeah.
Like it would be intact if it exploded off, you
Yeah.
know? Um, and so like Nicolas Cage passes out, um, to where he like passes out and he's like going into a hallucinogenic state because obviously he's like in an intense amount of pain, and he starts having a dream, a flashback back to when he was robbing the bank with his partner,
Hmm.
and it shows a bit more of what happened that day, because this is the bank part where he was robbing the bank. This is the reason why he's in jail, or he was in jail at the beginning of the movie. Um, and they made mention of it with the governor as well, which we forgot to mention. But he's in the bank. They show more. He's robbing the cashier at the front end. His buddy is watching. The little boy comes up to him, starts offering him gumbaru, and so the partner starts pointing his guns at the little kid. By the way, his partner has two like really nice looking magnums, I think.
Yeah, he has two as the resident gun nut here. He has two Desert Eagles, with chrome slides.
Looks fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And Nicolas Cage has a shot off shotgun. And he starts pointing him at the partner starts pointing it at the little kid. The little kid has a bowl cut, and so Nicolas Cage like so eloquently says, "You're gonna shoot a kid," and they looks at his partner, then realizes that his partner is not joking. He's gonna shoot the kid, and um, did the partner shoot other people right before he shot the kid at this point? Because I know.
Yeah, because Nicolas Cage tried to get him to stop.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is when he decides. Yeah, Nicolas Cage notices that he's about to shoot the kid. He starts attacking his partner, trying to stop him, and the partner, I think, wrestles Nicolas Cage to the ground, gets him like punches him or kicks him for a second, and then starts shooting random people inside the bank. And he shoots the teller. He shoots a bunch of the cops, security guards, and Nicolas Cage is like gaining his like what is it called? Trying to collect himself as he's been knocked to the ground by his partner. I think he dropped his shotgun, and the partner points the gun at the boy again. And then I think it cuts to like it becomes all quiet, and it shows there was a gumball machine behind the little boy, and it
Yeah.
shows all the like gumballs and like glass behind like a blue background. And it shows all these like brightly colored gumballs being shot across the screen. It looks really nice.
No,
Um,
that whole
look-
scene with every scene in the bank, because there's like I think there's 3 flashbacks into the bank. They're really nice. The bank looks really nice. It looks like a Korean movie, like it switches from Japanese to
Yeah.
Korean for some reason. And if anybody knows anything about Korean movies are very colorful and bright. Like everything's super brightly lit, and they love when stuff is like modern looking. That's how you can tell if you're watching a Korean movie or not.
from a Japanese one, right?
Yeah, from a
Or at least,
Japanese one.
I'm sure people like that have seen like Train to Busan, some of the Korean dramas that they have on Netflix. I'm sure
Yeah.
they probably noticed that.
Yeah, Train to Busan is a good example for Korean movies because even though it's a horror movie and a zombie movie, it's not dingy. It's really bright. The sun is out. The train, everything looks really clean except for the blood splattered stuff. Everything looks really clean, and
Everybody's-
well kept, and everybody's wearing like bright clothes and stuff.
Yeah, and they're also like fashionable. They're all like really well dressed.
Yeah.
So, Squid Game's another one. I think that one's also like in certain parts when they're doing the game, really brightly colored. And so those gumballs start flying, and it is I don't know if they show the kid shot, I think they just kind of imply it. I think they show his ball of gumballs falling to the ground. Um, his hand. I don't think they show his face with like blood coming down his mouth. But Nicolas Cage like this, starts attacking his partner some more, and then they fight so much that they bust through the glass door leading into the city outside of the bank. Where I think they're both arrested from there, right?
Well, Nicolas Cage is arrested. His partner has like the bright idea to start shooting at the cops.
Huh.
Oh wait, is that later?
I don't
No, they reveal it at
remember.
this part. I think they release it at. Oh yeah, they do because this is the big reveal. He shoots at the police and has a firefight with the police, and the police start killing him. He shoots a little girl in the crowd. He hits her in the leg.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a scar on Bernice's leg that's the same scar that the little girl had. So I mean, put two and two
That's
together.
That's what I forgot to mention. While Nicolas Cage is taking off the mannequin stuff from her legs, of which he gets excited and his ball explodes, he sees a little scar on her leg, and he's like, "Oh, that's a nice scar."
Yeah.
Um, and but the little girl who's in the crowd of people watching, she's with her mom, and the mom gets shot and dies on the floor, and Bernice is shot in her leg and is looking at her mom. They got a good actress, like a kid actress for the kid actor for Bernice, because she kind of looks like her. Like she even has the same skin tone and stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
which is weird because Bernice, I guess she's a Japanese. I don't know if she's a Japanese actress or what kind of actress she was, but she was very like she had like a big chiseled jaw. She had like a really chiseled jaw where I thought she was a man at first, and I was like, oh, it's one of these movies.
yeah,
And she's really like dark. I think she's dark. Yeah, she has like a really dark skin and really thick eyebrows, and she has like a really distinct look. So I don't
yeah.
know
It
if
was
she's a
like
Japanese actress or some other foreign actress. If she is from Japan, she's one of those like maybe like half Brazilian, half Japanese people that they have over there, you know?
or like some kind of like ethnic other than Japanese, I think,
Yeah.
or something. Because I like you would look at her face and not imagine her to have straight hair. So I assume that they gave her a wig. Um,
That definitely looked like a wig.
yeah. So yeah, that was a weird casting choice. But but they but they did a good job with the kid actor that uh what is it called? Did a good job with the kid actor because she looks exactly like her, as if she would be a kid.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's where the flashback cuts off, because I remember Nicolas Cage like coming back to consciousness and realizing, oh God, you have that scar on your leg that I was perving over just a second ago because of me. He even says like, oh, it's because of me. It's because of me.
Mhm.
Um, so he goes up to Bernice, and like I guess she's still catatonic, and he's like apologizing to her, which I guess is like, I don't even think she recognized him as the guy who did this, because she's like catatonic. She doesn't freak out or anything, like, which I guess in that case you would be like, would be like the most horrible thing, like the dude who's responsible for your mom's death
Yeah.
and the reason
Well,
that
she
you're in the
was
governor's hand.
well, she was quiet. She's quiet the whole movie because I don't know. There's this weird scene like you said with the cryptic stuff that I think we forgot to mention at the when they're in Ghost Town, and one of the people that lives there says that she lost her voice and she needs to find it.
Oh,
So
right,
it's the
right.
reason she's not talking.
Oh, okay, then that explains a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry, I'll try to
so
bring these things up if I'll try to I try to interrupt you and get these parts out there because there is like a lot of subtlety. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's what is it called? Yeah, because I missed a couple. I missed a lot of things in this movie for some reason. I think it was just like it was kind of weird. It kind of droned on in certain parts. Like certain parts were kind of slow, and like when I see movies that are kind of weird on streaming services nowadays, and especially Nicolas Cage movies, I kind of tune out a little bit because sometimes the pacing is bad. So I'm just like, well, my time's gonna be wasted regardless, so I'm just gonna like tune out a little bit. Um, so yeah, if you jump in, that would be good. 'Cause I missed a lot of these subtleties. Uh, so Nicolas Cage like wakes up for a bit, apologizes to Bernice, and I think he passes out again. Is this where they're attacked by the bus of dudes at this point?
They're attacked by the bus of dudes. Shit, I don't remember. What? Yes, I believe they're attacked by the bus of dudes again, and Bernice gets kidnapped.
I don't think she's kidnapped at this point. I think they get attacked by the bus of dudes that kind of appears out of nowhere, and then they're like, the guys that come up are in prisoners' outfits. In prisoners' outfits, but they look like zombies. I think I wrote down in my notes like what is it called? Zombie attack. Yeah, Nicolas Cage, a former bank robber, zombies attack. Um, so so the zombies are attacking Nicolas Cage. They come out of the prison bus, dressed in prisoners' outfits, and Nicolas Cage is like trying to fight them off, and Bernice like comes to her senses and like tries to help Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage is like freaking out and like attacking the zombie guys, but they're overwhelming him, and he in his like rage or something, like Bernice tries to like grab him or something, and he punches her, and that causes the suit to blow up his arm. And I think the what is it called? I think he passes out again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he has another...
this part I really don't remember. Even in my notes I skipped from Bernice getting kidnapped to what is this? Bernice getting kidnapped to the reveal that the building used to be a nuclear power plant.
Yeah, this isn't it just yet, because there's a big part of this because wrote down, is this a hallucination?
Mm-hmm.
Because the ghost people just kind of disappear after that, because there's like, they're introduced with like a big puff of smoke in the area that they're in, like the kind of deserty area that's on the outskirts of the ghost city,
Mm-hmm.
and or the ghostland, and then they just kind of disappear from there. Now I don't remember if Ratman comes out to save them or not, but they just kind of disappear. So I was like, was this a hallucination that he was having, or what was going on here? But anyway, his arm got blown off.
Yeah, as he was trying to save Bernice from getting kidnapped.
Yeah, and so like Bernice, so I think he's passed out again, and then Bernice goes up to him trying to like revive him and wake him up, and the little timer thing on his arm starts beeping again. So
Mhm.
it's time for Bernice to say her name into the arm speaker thing, and Bernice is like trying to say her name very quietly into the thing, knowing because the speaker says, "Bernice, please say your name," and she starts speaking it very quietly, trying to like revive Nicolas Cage. Then she yells it into the speaker, and then that stops Nicolas Cage from exploding again. Now, I think that Nicolas Cage wakes up from here, and he's pretty messed up. His ball got exploded. His arm is done. And I think Ratman and his crew of flunkies like find them on the outskirts of town and take them back to the Ghostland or the Ghost Town.
Yeah, Ratman is the MVP of this movie, by the way. Like, we say crew of flunkies, but they're just like his henchmen or whatever. But like, he's really the MVP of this movie.
He does a lot of stuff in this movie.
Yeah.
He's like the I guess he's like the protector of the city, sort of. He's like the security. He's also like
He builds
um
stuff, you know.
yeah, he builds stuff. You can see it on his attire or whatever, because it's like made out of like scraps and whatnot, like
Hmm.
metal scraps. Um, and so Ratman takes him back to the city. Is this the part where it's the reveal of like the origin of Ghost Town or Ghostland?
Yes, they're doing the big production number, talking about and they have the big picture thing there.
Yeah, it looks like it was a really nice set. In the dark, like in the daytime, it just kind of looked meh, but in the nighttime, they're all in front of the giant clock in the middle of the city. Um, and these Japanese women are standing on the stairs that lead up to the clock. Um, and they're all speaking Japanese, like reciting a chant that's
They're
actually a story.
Yeah, they're
Are you
telling a
good?
story. I forgot what it's called, but it is a traditional Japanese thing where you do a dance and you tell a story. I forget what it's called.
Kabuki.
Geishas do it. No, Kabuki's very very different. Like we're getting to Kabuki some other time, but Kabuki's a whole thing unto itself.
Yeah, so um yeah, they're standing in front of the big clock, um explaining in Japanese the story of Ghost Town, um or Ghostland. And to Nicolas Cage, who's like, "Please get me to a hospital, or please, like, someone help me."
Yeah.
Um, to him and Bernice and the rest of the town inhabitants, and so they're like, they have like a little like frame with pictures and stuff like that in them, like a, what would you call it, like a slideshow, and it
Hmm.
shows pictures of like a bus of prisoners being transported, and then a nuclear waste facility. I believe it begins with the nuclear waste facility um, operating, and then a truck of nuclear waste um, taking a batch of barrels of waste outside of the factory, while the bus of prisoners is headed in the same direction as they're going. And so obviously the bus and the truck collide at some point, um, creating a giant explosion, killing the driver, the people inside the prisoner bus, and creating I guess creating the town that was already there. So the
Hmm.
town was already there, and then the bus like creates a big explosion that kind of ruins the town. Um, which is the reason for Ghost Town being there. I think Nicolas Cage passes out again at this point, or
I think so. Like I said, this whole chunk is a blur to me, so you're gonna have to take the reins on this one. The only thing I have written down for my notes is I forgot to enable subtitles, so a lot of the movie I didn't know what they were saying.
yeah, yeah, I
That's
had the
all I
same
have
issue
written down.
actually.
Yeah.
The same issue. I like figured it out like halfway through the halfway through the movie.
Yeah,
Um,
in and also in the delusion of like the town and everything when they're telling the story, the guy who the doll maker comes out and he just I was just like when I saw him I was just like I chimed in with haven't you ever heard of closing the goddamn door? That's what I instantly thought. But go ahead. That's the only things I have written down for this scene.
closing the goddamn door, because he was also Asian.
Yeah.
Um, So there's like a weird thing that I noticed at the end of the movie. I didn't notice it while they were telling the story. They have like people, the giant clock. They have people uh on the hands of the clock. They have a group of men with a rope that stops the clock hands from moving. Now I don't remember why they were doing that, but it segues well into to this next part, because the it cuts to a scene where it's showing what the governor's doing. All this is happening to Nicolas Cage and Bernice. The governor has it cuts to like samurai town. This isn't we already said they don't say what the name of the town is until the end of the movie, but it cuts to samurai town. The governor is inside of his home um with the Asian girl that he was with at the very beginning, who they refer to as Bernice's sister. So, or at least he does. And so he's like having sake with like a group of women that follow him around, geishas. Um, and he's lamenting Bernice's
Loss.
loss, disappearance, because he doesn't realize that she's ran away. Um, and he mentions that Bernice is his clock. That was weird because he doesn't really explain why she's his clock, or at least I didn't catch that. So that's a weird thing. So what I assumed was the thing that because the ghost town, although they haven't really said anything, we find out at the end of the movie that the ghost town is somehow connected to the governor because they know who the governor is, even though they don't say it at this point in the movie. So what I assumed was that the governor, for some reason, has like a weird thing about clocks, and he's forcing the people of the town to either maintain the clock or stop it from moving, the hands moving. Don't know why. Completely missed that. If you guys watch the movie and you want to put in the comments or something like that, what the fuck that was, you go right ahead, because I don't know what the fuck that was about. But so we're at the governor. The governor's lamenting Bernice, and the sister like chimes in saying moving around saying that she misses Bernice, and that the
And she
governor's acting
chimes
like
in
a
with, "Haven't you ever heard of closing the goddamn
close
door?"
the gun. The governor's all like, "What do you, I hate Panic at the Disco." Brendan Urie is overrated. Uh, and he's just being a degenerate. That's like his character, is that he's a freaking degenerate weirdo.
Yeah, he
Um,
even though later on he calls Nicolas Cage a degenerate,
oh
which is
yeah, I
really funny.
forgot. I
But
forgot.
that's just a little. That's not spoiling anything. That's just something that happens at the end that I thought was really funny because he's like, "You fucking degenerate." That was pretty funny.
The
Um,
dude that plays the governor is like acting really weird. Like he's got a weird like acting thing. I guess the governor's supposed to come off as kind of crazy and like unhinged, but he just kind of came off as goofy.
yeah,
Um
he's
uh,
very goofy. He reminds me a lot of and this movie reminds me a lot of actually this movie very 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 much reminds me of Hobo with a Shotgun, which is something you and me
Oh
have to
yeah.
watch. Denny, did we watch it?
Yeah. We did watch it before, but I don't remember any of it.
Oh, okay. We need to watch it again and maybe do a review about it because that's one of Magnet Films' best movies. Um, but he reminded me of the I can't think of his name now, but the bad guy from that movie, where he was just like he's supposed to be crazy and unhinged, but he just kind of comes off as goofy.
Well, I mean, it's kind of, I think that's an Asian type of thing, cuz
His
they had
yeah. Can I also say this about Hobo with a Shotgun? The bad guy in there is supposed to be crazy and whatever, he comes off goofy. His two sons in there are actually very good and very menacing. The really bad one looks like the guy from Luxury Dark.
oh
Chester
the
from
one
Luxury Dark. I just wanted to say that. Go ahead.
the dark web guys or
Yeah.
whatever. They got a girlfriend on the dark web, and
Yeah,
she
I just wanted to say that the son, I think his name is Slick, looks like Chester from Luxury Dark. All right, go ahead.
we have to get the we have to get the hobo guys. We got a hobo on the dark web.
Yeah.
Um so ooh, I think I lost my place.
Sorry.
So yeah, that was a pretty big tangent. Like I'm thinking of like when the next luxury dark video is coming out now. Oh god, what they're gonna get on the dark web next? Uh, I think yeah. So they kind of think the governor asks his henchmen like, where's Nicolas Cage? And they're all like, we don't know. He's like kind of disappeared from our like kind of thinking and whatnot. And he's like, ah, shit. And it kind of I remember it panning out of where the governor is to like above the governor's house or like a different section of Samurai Town where Yashujiro is kind of hanging out. And Yashujiro is like, I don't know if he's meditating or something like that, but he starts walking out on the street. He's like walking through Samurai Town. Samurai Town is like this is in the nighttime, and like Samurai Town looks awesome at night, like the red the red buildings and stuff like that, and the whole Japanese thing with the like aesthetic with the lights and the paper lanterns looks really really good. He's walking through Samurai Town and he comes upon this place with a bunch of geisha women on it. It's obviously like they don't say it is, but it's a brothel. And he talks to one of the geishas, and the geisha he's like saying to the geisha, I'll get you out of here or something like that. And the geisha says to him, the governor's never gonna let me out of this. Out of this place. It's just like, you need to stop working for him. And then like another samurai comes out behind him, and like starts giving him some shit and saying, your horse, something about your horse sister. So Yashujiro's sister is working in this brothel for the governor. And I guess that's why Yashujiro is working for him.
Yeah, which doesn't explain the rest of the movie, by the way. This is such a throw. This is the only part that I'm going to hate on this. Well, I mean, besides just the general weirdness. This is one part I will hate about this movie, is that subplot is never explored again.
Well, I mean, I think it gives him a reason to follow be the bodyguard of the governor.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why would anybody want to work for this guy?
Yeah, which makes sense, but they don't really. They don't capitalize on it later on. It's just kind of like is forgotten.
I thought going later on into the movie, I thought it was kind of good, and I'll explain that later once we get to the part.
Yeah. We'll debate this at the end, but go ahead.
Yeah. So going back to the scene that we're on, the other samurai starts giving him some shit, and so they have like, and then he's got a crew of like other samurai, and I don't know what his beef is with Yasujiro, but they start fighting each other, and Yasujiro like takes him out, like he like does like a bunch of cool samurai shit, and handles them like pretty easily. I think the scene ends with Yashujiro killing the last henchman. Or like Yashujiro lamenting his sister being in a brothel. And so we cut back to Nicolas Cage and Bernice. This part I kind of blanked out on. Let's see. Nicolas Cage and Bernice, I think it's daytime in Ghost Town now.
Mm-hmm.
Or Ghostland. And so the Ghostland people do not want to
well,
for some reason
the senior leadership doesn't want them to leave.
They don't want Nicolas Cage to leave. I think they're afraid of the governor.
Well, they're afraid of the Ghostland. They just say they keep repeating this thing about if you go into the ghost, nobody escapes the Ghostland. They just keep saying it. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay then.
Yeah.
The whole town is chanting it, right? Once the religious leader like says it.
Yeah.
Right? For some reason on my notes at this point, I wrote my sweet little cookie, and I don't remember what the fuck it was. I think it was like
the governor says it. Maybe.
I think the governor says it to Bernice's sister.
Oh, Bernice's sister. Yeah, which I thought she had psychic powers.
Why?
Because the governor told him to say when she's coming back. He kept yelling at her when is Bernice coming back. I was like, does she have psychic powers? But that was just the movie being retarded again. So it just made me feel stupid.
Okay, well, I mean, I felt pretty dumb when I just randomly in the middle of this thing about like plot points is like my sweet little cookie. Um, so I also wrote down Nicolas Cage is so out of so out of place because he like rallies the town and starts explaining that we need to leave. We need to rally against the governor. Like I did not like a couple days ago, I wouldn't have thought that I would have had a change of heart. I wouldn't have had a missing arm. I wouldn't have had one of my balls. He literally says like one
One
of
of my
my
testicles
my
missing. Testicles.
yeah.
What does he say? Then
He says testicules. I think he says testicles.
Can you repeat
One of my
his thing?
One of my testicles blown off.
Oh yeah, because he's doing
That-
his
that-
country accent again. He's doing his freaking what is that fucking accent? He's doing his Troy Baker, or I don't know what the hell his name was in Con Air.
O'Connor, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, forget what his character is in there, but he's doing like that accent at the end of the movie for some freaking reason.
I didn't get it. I think this is why I wrote this because I wrote Nicolas Cage so out of place yet so in place. I think he likes dating Asian chicks. That's why he's in this movie.
Oh,
and so
funny
like,
enough, he did meet his fifth wife at this movie shoot.
yeah, that's the reference for the thumbnail people. So
Yeah.
yeah, he likes the Asian girls. So that may be another reason why he's like, yeah, we need to go to Japan. I feel a sense of I feel like it'd be better for his organ to go to Japan, his heart organ, clearly. Just wanted to scoop up what is it called, the cherry blossom woman, but so a dedicated Japanese flower. I also wrote down like he had one arm and he's dressed in completely black. Is this another Berserk reference? Because Guts has like a missing arm, and also like the dolls at the beginning. I'm a big fan of Berserk, everybody. So Nicolas Cage rallies the people and like the religious leaders like, no, everybody, nobody do that. It's too dangerous or something. Like nobody leaves the Ghostland. And so Nicolas Cage is all like, well, I'll do it myself then. And then he like goes up to Ratman while he's working in his like scrapyard shop. Like they're like him and his crew are like welding a bunch of shit. Like we said earlier that he has a lot of hats in this. So apparently he's like the town mechanic or something, or he's like a guy who tinkers with stuff. He knows how to weld. He went to vocational school. And he makes a deal with like Ratman. He's like, you help me like do all this stuff. I don't know. I'll give you a pat on the back or something because I don't even know what the fuck he promised him.
Oh,
and
by
so,
the
like,
way,
Ratman-
shout outs to Japanese truck culture. I know Japanese, they have a lot of hobbies and stuff like that, but like truck culture, I feel like is one that's not shouted out enough. You know those trucks that they had in the background with the big kabuki paintings on the side and have the lighting and the LEDs on them? That's an actual thing in Japan, and they have truck meets and stuff where they meet up and they show off their trucks and stuff, how they make them all cool.
Oh, neat.
It's
So
referenced
like
a
their
lot in
own-
video games. I think there's a scene in the back of Street Fighter 2 where they have two big trucks like that.
Oh, okay.
Or Street Fighter 3. I don't remember. One of the Street Fighters. It's a background and they have those trucks. So I just feel like that's something that doesn't get shouted out enough. So I thought that was cool that they had that in this movie.
They have dragons on there in the Street Fighter one, or am I being racist?
They might have. I don't remember.
Okay. Yeah, they looked really nice. I don't think they drove it, but it's in like the background of the scrapyard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just more visuals to add to this because it really is nice. We said it like a bunch of times in this podcast, but it is really a good-looking movie. So it makes a deal with Ratman, and then Ratman's all like, all right. And so Ratman like creates a bunch of weapons for the townspeople. He makes like a sword arm, like a fucking sword arm online for Nicolas Cage, like a little stumpy like sword arm thing. I forget. I think he just gives Bernice like a couple guns or something, and like the town like everybody in the town like vehicles or something. And everybody in the town's like rallying around all this. They're going less to the religious leaders prayer sermons and going more to hang out with Nicolas Cage and his crew and the Ratman's crew um to get ready for this like storming of Samurai Town. Um and so let's see. Um So and this is where the Western influences come in because you start hearing like movies that you would hear in like a spaghetti Western around this time. Like it's become fully uh evident that this is supposed to be like a Western because they're in a desert place. They're gonna go to a town to go defeat the evil governor, the evil sheriff, the bandits that have taken over the town. They're gonna go confront them. This is the big climax coming up. Um, and uh, so as they find the morning comes because they've been working throughout the nighttime. Um, by the way, I thought Nicolas Cage was supposed to do this in a day, otherwise it would blow up. But I'm starting to realize as I'm talking right now that it probably was a couple of days because we had gone through like 2 nights already. This is the second night.
Hmm.
Maybe he had 3 days for it to happen. That would make more sense because why would you be able to do it in one day? That's kind of crazy. Um, but for this movie, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that that's what they wrote, since everything else is so crazy. And so, um, the morning comes and they're prepared. They're ready to go. They're gonna storm Samurai Town, and so they're about to leave. And then, right as the whole town is gonna leave, or at least our main characters, Bernice, Ratman, and Nicolas Cage, um, the fog starts showing again, and the prisoner bus is right there in front of uh, the crowd, blocking their way to leaving a ghost land or ghost town.
Yeah.
And so the zombie guys come out of the bus, and Nicolas Cage is like walking out in front of everybody, looking at the bus, and their leader that was shown when they were first introduced, when they fought Nicolas Cage before he passed out, comes out um and views Nicolas Cage. It's a bald guy with sunglasses. And so he comes up to Nicolas Cage and reveals himself. The the leader is Nicolas Cage's old partner who he robbed the bank with. Um and so they have like a talk about what happened to Nicolas Cage's his partner, and they have a flashback. And so Nicolas Cage's partner was clearly was taken by the police, and they have a flashback to the slideshow, and Nicolas Cage realizes you were on the bus. You were one of the people on the bus, the prison bus that collided into the nuclear waste truck. So the ghost says, "Yeah, it was your fault. It was your fault that all this happened to me. Um, uh, why should I let you through?" And then Nicolas Cage, this part I kind of liked a lot. Nicolas Cage says like,
Yeah, the dude who was
um,
playing his partner, the guy's name is Psycho, by the way. It's revealed that his name is
Psycho, yeah.
Psycho because he's like, Psycho, you're here. Um, yeah, his name is Psycho. He did a good. That guy was a good actor. That was kind of weird. It was kind of off-putting to see him like. It was kind of weird to see him like be a good actor. You know what I mean? Because everybody else here is kind
Yeah.
of like overacting a little bit and kind of being weird, but his performance was really heartfelt. It was kind of weird. I was
Yeah,
like,
there
oh,
was
okay.
something about there was something about the scene that was like so like actually good. Like this is like one of like the actually decent, less goofy, less like overdone scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that I thought because like Nicolas Cage says something about when he was passed out uh after the zombies had attacked him. He said like all the people I hurt. I'm paraphrasing. All the people I hurt, I saw them or I dreamed them. And he saw like they cut to like a scene where it's showing like I believe it was everything was black except for this square. And the square, it kind of looks like he's in a tunnel or something like that, and he's looking upwards or like in a well, looking upwards. Everything is dark except for this blue square that's at the top of the tunnel, and it's very like kind of indigo-ish, kind of like light blue, um, looking sky. Uh, and he sees like little kids peeking out from the sides of the top of the square that he's looking up at. And so he says to Psycho, he's like, I saw those people. They weren't angry with me. They were calling me. They weren't people that were something. They were asking for my help. Um so he basically says like, I need to do this. I need to like go to the samurai town and make everything right. Like I have a chance to help these people, which I assume they, when he means like people, he means Bernice. Like Bernice is like the direct connection between his old life, hurting somebody, that he can see he affected very badly. Like this is the chance to redeem himself, from his old life, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And so Psycho says, ah, okay. And then disappears, but it gets back on the bus, and all the zombies get back on the bus, and then like there's a huge like explosion, like a nuclear explosion that apparently everybody sees. So I don't know if it was like, it didn't happen. There wasn't a big explosion. Those this is what makes me think that it was a hallucination, because those zombies weren't actually there, as far as I know, or maybe they were lit ghosts or something that were like forming and like scaring the people off from leaving. But everybody sees it, and then they just, just move on from there.
Right.
So yeah, it must have been like the ghosts of radioactive prisoners or something that were stopping people. That's probably why they called it Ghostland, obviously. By the way, Ghostland, ghost town, a stranger riding into a ghost town and making and teaching the people to rise up and defend themselves. Western.
Yeah.
So headed down towards Samurai. I don't know why, but I was like, I was kind of taken aback because on my notes it says, "Oh fuck, we're gonna fight the bad guys now," because they're like immediately in Ghost Town, ready to confront the governor.
Well, well, that happened, but there was also a scene where the governor
They don't show everybody at first, right? They Nicolas Cage brings in Bernice by himself, right?
yeah, and in but there's a scene where the governor is like yelling a bunch of nonsense, and he says Animal Town.
Animal Town.
He's like, yeah, he's like 4 feet good, 2 legs bad, or something like that. And he's
Oh
like,
yeah.
not Animal Town. What is it called? Animal Farm. It's like, long live Animal Farm, long live Animal Farm. And I'm like, oh boy, there's a little on the nose.
Something about that. I mean, I didn't really get that reference at all. I thought that was the name of the town.
Yeah, right.
Or like my animal place or something, but I didn't really. Yeah. Those are the parts that you can tell that this was like in production hell or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like the longer something's in production, the worse it gets. It doesn't get any better. Um. So. So like what's it called? So they I guess like from the crowd of people, the opens up, or from what I remember, maybe someone alerts the governor that Nicolas Cage is back with Bernice.
Mm-hmm.
And so like what is it called? Nicolas Cage is walking in with Bernice. Nicolas Cage has a helmet now, like a really fucked up like burnt football helmet. And he's got his like, he's got like Bernice in one arm, and I don't know how the fuck he's doing it, but like he's holding a Damascus steel knife to her throat.
No,
and
well, he
saying,
doesn't
like,
say that first. First, he says, I brought your guy. Here, I brought you home." This is what he says, the degenerate thing. He says, "I brought her home. Now take off. Give me the key." give me the key,
And
give me the key. And he's like, I wouldn't give the key to you if. Wait, he said, what did he say? I wouldn't give you. It's like I wouldn't
and
piss
what
on you
I
if you were on fire, you fucking degenerate, or something like that.
yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's really out of place. And then that's when he pulls out the Damascus steel knife. And I know it's a Damascus steel knife because it has those weird like ridges on it or like those weird lines, and I was like, God damn, this movie's so stylish. Um, although the Damascus steel knife I find is cringe, and everybody has it now, and it's like it's lost its individuality. But so then he pulls a knife on Bernice, and then yells at the governor to give him the key to the neck of the suit that he's wearing. Um, and I forget what happens. I think there's like a showdown. It's a Mexican standoff. Like they're standing there quietly figuring out what the fuck to do next. And one of the governor's henchmen, like just loses his cool and starts shooting at Nicolas Cage. But obviously the reason why you use someone as a human shield is because they'll take the bullets. And Bernice gets shot, and I was like, what the hell? They shot Bernice? She gets shot in the shoulder, but and they fall to the ground. Um, uh, um,
Yeah, and then and then what's her name? The sister who I forgot her name, but the
Sweet
sister
Cookie,
with
or
the
my sweet little cookie.
yeah, sweet little cookie that with the learning disability, she which I think is implied, right? But anyways, she
No, I think she's just
she,
I think she's just overacting.
she jumps behind the Gatling gun and starts killing everyone.
Oh yeah, like I guess she sees like Bernice become got wounded and like loses it, and like jumps behind a very conveniently placed Gatling gun, taking out most of the henchmen, geishas, and crowd of people surrounding the governor, um, leading to Nicolas Cage like saying, "All right, it's go time," and takes out his fucking awesome what is it called, sword arm, and starts like slashing people and
Yeah,
shit.
and it was like
Um,
very body horror, which was really weird in this movie because they hadn't, besides the ball getting cut off, they didn't really do a lot of body horror in this movie, and it is his hand is very body horror because it's like a little cage around his arm, and his hand you can see is all crippled and it's all crippled and shoved inside the gauntlet.
was it? Oh, it was shoved in. I
Yeah, it was
remember it
shoved. You can
being.
see like his fingers all fucking like gored and stuff inside of it with a knife coming
Oh,
out. Yeah.
I think it was too dark in the copy that I was seeing because what is it called? Because I didn't see that part, but which is funny too because the movie looks so good even in like a dark kind of like setting and stuff. Even though certain parts were certain bright in the copy that I was looking at, but I think that's probably the director, right? Because he did a Suicide Club, so I mean he knows a little bit about body horror, right?
Yeah.
So so yeah, like a cool like a big fight scene happens with Nicolas Cage, and Nicolas Cage like um when they start the fight scene, there's a clear like clearly they got like a dude to
Yeah,
a stunt double to
cause he shrinks
yeah, 'cause
around the waist. You could
he
tell.
shrinks around the waist. He does like a front roll to start like slashing people with his arm, with his sword arm, and that's probably why they had the helmet. Because the helmet was super jarring to me when I saw it. I was like, that looks weird. I wonder why he's wearing that. And it was to hide the stunt double more, probably because he has a different hairline than Nicolas Cage.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so like a big fight scene happens. What's it called? Bernice's sister like drags her away from the action into like a corridor where like where they talk about uh Bernice like saying, "Oh, I missed you, sister. I wish none of this had happened. Let's run away." Or something, and then Bernice says, "No, I can't run away, or whatever. Not now." Or something like that. And some of the henchmen sneak up on them, and Bernice like she takes out a samurai sword, and now she's fine. She's like fine, and she starts doing like samurai shit, and I was like, when the fuck did she learn how to do this? Like she starts like doing like cool samurai action moves, and everybody's awesome. Um, forget what happens to. I think like she like goes out and back into the action to go like help out Nicolas Cage. Um, and what is it called? Um, yeah, so they're having like the big like drawn out fight, and I think Nicolas Cage said something strange during this. I don't remember what it was, but he gives the same weird line delivery um in certain parts of the scene. And it sounds really out of place because he should be tired from like attacking people, but he's just like talking. He's just
Normally.
yelling in his accent again. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, so then after like Nicolas Cage has taken out a bunch of people, or a bunch of henchmen, Yashujiro like appears, and Yashujiro like gets in his samurai stance. He's framed. He's the only thing in the the shot that we're looking at, and he gets into that like classic samurai stance where he's about to pull out his sword, and all the other henchmen are like taken out, and so Nicolas Cage looks at Yashijiro, and he takes out his he presents his hand sword, and I was like, okay, well, we're gonna have a classic samurai scene
Yeah.
here, and then like they start fighting, and they have like a really cool like scene where they're both like evenly matched. um Yashujiro is like henchmen try to like uh what is it called, interrupt their match or whatever, and Yashujiro stops them from like attacking Nicolas Cage.
Mm-hmm.
Like really putting into perspective that Yashujiro is like an honorable person. He's a nice guy that is like in a bad situation because he has to work for the governor because of his sister. And I was like thinking to myself, didn't your sister say that
That's
the
the
governor
problem
wasn't
I
gonna
had
help?
with it. That the governor,
Yeah.
and then at this point, the governor is dissolved. Nicolas Cage has destroyed like any power that the governor would have. So I don't know why Yujiro. I mean, I guess besides just being a samurai, an honorable samurai and stuff, I don't know why he felt the need to keep fighting Nicolas Cage, because Nicolas Cage had no beef with him. He wasn't gonna try to kill him or anything.
Yeah, I think it was just like I think they really wanted to drive home the samurai trope where it's like not the Ronin, because the Ronin doesn't have a leader, but like the honorable samurai who's always loyal to his lord and stuff, going. But like also we don't know if he like actually believes what his sister's saying, or he's like thinking, you know uh she's just saying that so I'll move on with my life and won't rescue her or something like that. We don't The governor's always, maybe he's lost hope that the governor will lose power and then he can move on and save his sister. So I mean, he's fighting for his sister. He's an honorable dude. He's like a tragic character. He's a tragic character in this like Western samurai movie that I think they have some of those characters present
Yeah,
in those stories, right?
yeah. There's
So I
there's
think that's
semblance of a good movie in this movie.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. That's why I wasn't like. That's why I was thinking. We were talking before the podcast about like whether this movie was shit or not, and I was like, "There's some things in this movie. Maybe it was the visuals that caught me. Maybe it was those little specks of like good acting that Nicolas Cage did. I really like Yashujiro. Yashujiro is like one of the better characters in the movie.
oh, definitely,
Um,
most definitely. He's one of the best characters. Him, Ratman. I really like Ratman. He was a very very good anime sidekick.
yeah.
You know what I mean? You know how the little goofy comedy relief that the big tough serious guy meets like in the movie and accompanies him to in the rest of the anime.
Yeah.
That's the guy who played Ratman did a very very good job of that, where he was helping out Nicolas Cage and doing all this stuff. He didn't really have to at all, but he just went out of his way and helped Nicolas Cage the whole time because he cared about Ghost Town, even though he was kind of an outcast.
Well, I didn't. What is it called? He also drives a lot of the like I said before, he also drives a lot of the plot forward because he's like, um, he gives Nicolas Cage like his arm to do the fighting and stuff like that. He really helps a lot. I don't know if it was like maybe showing like an outcast like being useful or something like that, but he definitely did a lot of stuff in the movie to make sure everything like keeps going forward.
Yeah.
Um, so like So I'm gushing over this movie, and then people will probably watch it and is like, "What the fuck am I watching?"
Yeah,
But like,
well, I do the same thing with Hobo with a Shotgun, where I fucking love that movie so much, and then when I watch it, people are like I showed a bunch of my friends the movie or whatever, and all they do is just like, "Oh, today's a good day for a skate rape," and Hobo with a
yeah,
Shotgun and stuff like that. Like they quote the lines, which just goes to your thing about Zoomers being like, they just fucking like want catchphrases all the time. Like
yeah,
if you can make a good
yeah.
catchphrase, you're in. Um, but I'm just like the movies. The Hobo Shotgun's like is layered so deep. It's such a good movie. But anyways, stop. I'll stop gushing about that movie. What were you saying?
So I forget how they kill Yashijiro. I think Nicolas Cage like they have. Wow, I forget how they kill Yashijiro, which is funny because he's one of the more characters that I like the most in it. I'm pretty sure that Nicolas Cage like slashes his throat or something like that. I want to say that they had that like
I
thing
think
where
he cuts
they
him in the gut. He does. They give him like an honorable death because getting cut in the face or the throat or whatever is kind of disrespectful. So I think they have a samurai slash off. You know that classic samurai. We're gonna
that's
do
what I was gonna
slash.
say.
Yeah, and Nicolas Cage ducks and hits him in the gut.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say happened, but like I said, there's like cuts in my memory about this movie. But so Yashijiro dies. I wrote in my notes why they killed Yashijiro, but we went through all that. And
Oh yeah,
and so
him
the
and Yashijiro also kick each other in the nuts.
oh yeah, and
Yeah,
then
I
there's like a
like the
big
scene because it
ding.
was a nice little it was like a nice little comedy scene, but at the same time it was kind of like a little dig at reality because that's what would happen. Because they kicked each other in the nuts and they
Yeah,
were both like, ugh. And then they were getting ready to fight and they were both, and then Nicolas Cage is like, fuck, and then the other dude's like, oh, my nuts too, like
yeah,
shit sucked.
yeah. I know they had like little dings, like the bells ringing when they
Yeah,
kicked each
that was
other too.
very Japanese.
Yeah, I just thought it was. I don't know. This movie's like kooky in certain parts and like actiony and like I don't know. It's like all the things that you would want in the wrong places. but but yeah, I don't know. I some of the parts are really drawn out too. But we'll get to that I think at the end. But at the very end. So um so I think like after Yashijiro dies, the governor is left by himself. Um the governor is left by himself and every all the henchmen have been killed. There's nobody left to
Defend the
pose
governor.
to defend the governor. Bernice's sister, I believe, got shot in the fray, so she's not doing well. She's like left in the alleyway that we had. She was talking to Bernice before she started doing all the cool samurai shit, and so
Bernie started doing the cool samurai shit. Sorry, it just sounds like you're
yeah.
saying that the yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, before Bernice started doing all the shit. And so, I think I forget. I think um, they go to confront the governor. You know, it's the final stand, governor's last stand, and and Bernice and Nicolas Cage like walk up to him, and then I think the governor is pleading with Bernice, like saying, "Oh, you're my little clock" or something like that. Which, like I said, they don't really explain that. And then Bernice says something to him that's like really impactful towards the story, and I forgot to write it down because I thought I would remember. Uh, and so my note says Bernie squibs the shit out of the governor. So because
Oh,
like
I
she,
have something to say about her shooting the governor. She shoots him 7 times with a revolver
oh
without
god,
reloading. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Well, this movie has seven chambered revolvers or seven
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Um, yeah, and it's like it looks so bad. They ran out of money at the end, and it looks like squibs, like the whole. um, and so uh, my notes also say "dat most sweat bitches." I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. I think I was like,
That most sweat
I was
bitches. What?
I have no idea what the fuck that means. I think I was like, there's so much. I was bored, but now like everything's happening, and I'm excited, and I was touched by this movie, like in certain areas. Um,
In the
like
dirt.
I was touched on the doll in this movie in certain, um, and show us on the doll where the movie touched you. So I was like exhausted by the end of it, so I think I was just writing gobbledygook down. And so like they kill the governor. Um, Nicolas Cage is about to explode again because his suit is freaking out, and the governor has a key around his neck, and they rip the key off of the governor's neck and release Nicolas Cage from the suit. Um, and so the there's like a little boy that I think they showed in the background of Ghost Town, like watching this all happen. And so the little boy like runs. Well, he's not a little boy. He's more like a teenage boy, like early teenage. He runs. He's obviously from Ghost Town because he's all disheveled and he's wearing their like ratty garb. And he runs back to Ghost Town or Ghost Land and runs to everybody and says, "The governor's dead. The governor's dead." And everybody rejoices, and they're all the ghost town like says, "All right, let's go to Samurai Town." And then everybody starts leaving the ghost town. The people that were holding the clock's hands let it go, and then the clock starts ticking, and then they're all leaving. The religious leader, the preacher, is being dragged out, and for some reason he won't leave his little like cubby where he holds his sermons. Like they're dragging it on wheels.
Yeah, he gets more and more like assholer-ish as the movie goes on. We forgot to mention.
Yeah.
Well, he's just like in the middle of the street. Then he goes to like being on a soapbox. Then he's like being dragged around by all the people of the city.
Yeah, and then like some of the people of Ghost Town. This is where the second black person was because they started like rejoicing when they let the hands of the clock go. There was one at the beginning. There was a lady dressed as a geisha. Then there's this guy who's in the crowd of Ghost Town, and it for people that are wondering why I'm bringing it up, it's just weird because they're the only ones that you see there. Whereas it's like a sea of Asian people, and then like Nicolas Cage and the governor, who are the only white, the white dudes. We said that at the beginning.
Yeah.
So then the clock keeps ticking as the people are leaving the ghost town, and they get far enough away from the clock to where the ghost town, Ghostland is literally a ghost town. There's nobody in it. And so it shows the clock, which explode. It looks like a Universal Studios live attraction, like live performance set exploding. And it looks really nice. It looked like SeaWorld, not SeaWorld. What's the name of that movie, Tony?
Oh, Waterworld.
It looks like the Waterworld attraction where the explosion happens. If you're old enough to remember that shit, that little like stage play thing that they had at Universal Studios, and it looks really nice. I guess they were stopping the clock from exploding. I don't know if the governor made them do that or if that's what was going to happen, but it wasn't really explained well. Or maybe it just passed us by, went over our heads.
Yeah.
So the day comes up because this all happened at night, and Ghost Town is like, it's showing the remnants of I'm sorry, not Ghost Town, Samurai Town. All the decay and stuff, but there's or all the damage. All the people are the people that matter. The Ghost Town people are like starting to rebuild. Like everybody's happy. Nicolas Cage, Bernice, and Bernice's sister, who survived, are sitting on a bench, saying, Bernice's sister puts her head on Bernice's shoulder. Bernice puts her head on Nicolas Cage's shoulder, and Nicolas Cage says, "Well, I guess Samurai Town is gonna go through a lot of changes or some shit like that." And that's when we find out it's actually called Samurai Town. He says, Samurai Town is going to be a beautiful place one day, and I think that's where they kind of look at each other, and that's where the end of the movie that says "Prisoners of Ghostland."
Yeah, Prisoners of the Ghostland, which is the name of the movie.
Yeah, Prisoners of the Ghostland. The what's it called? The title is, and that's when the credits start to roll. And that was Prisoners of Ghostland.
Yeah, no, it was
Um,
a pretty good movie. Welcome everybody that skipped it. I guess I'm gonna tell everybody to skip ahead to skip the spoilers or the story synopsis. Welcome everybody that skipped the story synopsis. We're gonna give you our thoughts on the movie without any
yeah.
spoilers. We're gonna tell you, what did you think, Denny, of the movie? I thought it was okay. Lackluster review
I
there.
thought there's like when I first started watching the movie, I said it while we were recapping everything. Um, I was like, oh God, what is this? Uh, because I've seen movies where it has really nice visuals, but the story is just like garbage. It's like drones on. It's like depressing. Nothing gets solved. Fuck you. You wasted your time. Um, but this movie, like, maybe it's because I wasn't fully paying attention to certain parts of it, but it does drone on in the middle, like when he first gets to Ghost Town or Ghostland. Um, and those scenes are really really boring.
Mm-hmm.
But it just picked up for me like in the last half of it. Um, and the vision, like the look was nice. The like goofy parts were goofy and lame and kind of cringe, but they're also kind of charming in certain ways. And like this the certain scenes where
Mm-hmm.
there's actually some decent acting. It
Yeah, a
made
lot of
me
the
think of
acting was overacting, which kind of made me feel like they got random actors from like the studio, like the studio
right.
provided actors.
Maybe they just got random people off the street. And so like I um I just sorry, I just got a text. I feel like the movie could have been good. Like it could have been another Mandy. It could have been another one of those like well liked cult classics that we're seeing Nicolas Cage come out with.
Yeah,
It had everything it needed, but I assume that I mean it's the amount of time, the production hell and stuff that it was
plus the
caused
director.
it.
The director is a
Director
big
maybe.
fan of weirdness, which
True.
is kind of detrimental, sometimes detrimental to a movie like this, especially where the plot of the movie isn't weird. It's a nice straight forward action plot, and you can put in your elements of like I like the samurai dynamic, I like the western movie dynamic thing, like you were saying. Uh, those two elements together, I like. I'm already a big fan of Japanese movies in general, so I can put up with a little bit of the cringe that they do. But I just didn't. It didn't mesh well in this movie. I thought.
No, it's like stuff got jumbled up, or there's things that should work, but they're just in the wrong places, and the pacing is weird. That's what I was been trying to say the entire review is that like in the middle that's where the pacing gets weird. Like you need to start introducing all the like the meat of where the story's going soon or like very quickly, because at first you don't know what to make of it because it's just so weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like have Nicolas Cage, you have the Japanese setting, you have the even Psycho, the um partner of Nicolas Cage at the very beginning, he's dressed all weird. He was dressed like in modern days, so it's like, but you don't see any other people that are dressed like that. Um, so you don't know what the hell is going on in this movie. Um, and yeah, so you don't, I don't know if this is in the future, if it's in like
Yeah.
an apocalyptic future. Not because like the ghost land kind of like threw me off because it looks like an apocalyptic wasteland, which it is, but I don't know if they used a lot of technology in this. They have the old school Trans Am, right? The car that Nicolas Cage was
No,
driving
he
at the very
has
beginning.
he has a that is a 1998 Toyota Celica.
All right, I didn't remember what it was. I know cars aren't my thing, but what is it called?
Yeah, because I think you said in the Resident Evil review, I think you said he was driving a you said he was driving like a muscle car, like an American muscle car, and I think you said Camaro, but he was actually driving a Cadillac. He's
Oh,
driving
really?
like a Cadillac, like grandpa car.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I didn't want to say
for
anything during the review because it would like it would it would like hobble the whole review. But go. Sorry.
throw us off on a tangent of like how little knowledge I know about cars or whatever. I can't even change my own oil, people. So like for anybody listening, cars, geography, um, what is it called? Not non-spastic story explanation are not my thing. So um so I think yeah, I think like a person like going into this movie that's like not ready to get to the end of it is not gonna make it to the end. They're just gonna like they're gonna tune out like how I did and then not give it a chance because the reason I stuck with it is because we figured, oh, this is like, you know, this is just kind of strange enough to like give us enough stuff to work with for a review, but I'm glad I finished it because there's some good parts to it that I would not have seen if I had just cut it off from the very beginning. And I think it could have been good, like something that you would see like Sukiyaki Western. You remember Sukiyaki
Yeah, I
Western?
was just about to compare it to Sukiyaki Western.
Yeah, it could have been another Sukiyaki Western, but with the great visuals and that style that sorry, what's the name of the movie company? The production company?
XYZ.
XYZ brings to their movies. And it could have been another classic, cult classic, but
And
just
also didn't have enough purple and light blue, like lighting, like 80s horror movie lighting,
well,
Dario
that's what
Argento shit that they have in their other movies.
well, that's what I think that's it gives it its own feel, I think, to it.
Yeah.
Um you wouldn't have those bright scenes like in the bank. Um yeah, so well, it did have a little bit of that in the scene with Yashijiro where he's like walking through Samurai Town at night, maybe a
Mhm.
little bit. Maybe. It's not neon colored, but it's something similar. Um yeah, so I would give it a what would I give it? 5 out of 10, I guess.
Yeah, I would
5 out of
I'd
10.
probably give it a 5 out of 10 also. It was decent. The second half was decent. Um it wasn't the worst movie ever, but it wasn't the best either. It was definitely not the best that they've always done. It's not the best that they've done. The movie company, and it's not really Nicolas Cage's best movie either. So, yeah, they could have done better. They've been on a slow decline since Mandy, because Mandy was really really good. People should definitely watch that one. I don't think we'll review it. I'll just tell everybody, if you watch it, watch Mandy. Mandy is a very very good movie. If you semi liked this one, then you'll really love Mandy. Um, but other than that, there's not really much to say about this movie except for kind of telling you what the movie was about, and the fact that this movie's not for everybody. Probably not even for the people that it was intended for either. So, but I would say wait for it to be free on Amazon or find a copy. I don't think it's worth the I think it was like $7 renting on Amazon right now. It's like $5 or $7 everywhere, and I don't even think it's worth it for that, honestly. Unless you really, really
Uh,
want to see it.
I would say if you're a fan of the XYZ movies and that like Mandy thing, if you were able to get through what was it called?
Color Space.
Purple Color of Space. If you're able to get through a Color of Space, you could get through this movie and probably enjoy it. Um yeah. So that's how
Yeah.
I feel about it.
Yeah. No, it wasn't the worst. It wasn't the worst movie ever. It was fine. It was okay. It's if you like Takashi Miike style movies also, you'll probably like this one, which I'm a big fan of Takashi Miike. I think he's probably one of the greatest directors of Japan. Um but we'll see. I mean, just go ahead and give it a watch. We definitely give it a 5 out of 10 or whatever. I guess we haven't been rating any of these movies, but
You're rating them.
this is Oh, have we? Okay. Well, shit. I guess we can put it on the scale. We can.
I
guess
gave
we
it
can-
in Cant though by like 3. I gave it a 3, I think.
in
Cant though.
What was I gonna say? What would be the scale? Okay, if you like Japanese movies, the goofy Japanese movies, like Gozu or Tokyo Gore Police or something, definitely watch this one. It's good. It'll be good for you or whatever. If you like Marvel movies, fucking don't even watch our channel. Leave.
Yeah, honestly.
Well,
I mean, if you like,
stay subscribed, but don't watch our videos.
Oh, actually, watch our videos. We will. I mean,
no.
there's
support us, but you have bad taste in movie. So yeah, Japanese movie fans, specifically Tokyo Gore Police and the B videos. You go ahead and watch this one. It's very good. You'll like it.
I love all our watchers. I think they all have good taste because they listen to us. So, there you go. We might differ sometimes, but I love you. And I want to have sex with you.
All right, good night, everybody.
I'm a vampire! I'm a vampire! I'm a vampire!